Good morning, me people. Good morning, me people. How you doing? It is a big day today, of course. Big day today. Big day, Memorial Day today. Memorial Day. We're going to have a big memorial. £25 to get in, £35 to get out. Aye. So, good morning, everyone. Here we are, Freedom News on, of course, 25th, which is, of course, Memorial Day today for the American Shire people. So, happy Memorial Day to all of the Americans, of course, as we celebrate with them. Anyway, it's very, very going to be very, very warm. We've got clear blue skies in the northeast of England. No chemtrails, by the way. No chemtrails for all you chemtrail fans. If you are looking for chemtrails, well, you carry on looking for chemtrails because we're not going to be looking for them. No, we're going to be looking for clear skies. So up in the northeast of England, it's clear skies today. Beautiful weather. T-shirts and shorts today, so very interesting. We shall, of course, wait and see. And good morning to everyone in the house today. We've got Lisa in, Shepherd's in, Brenda's in, Angie's in, Mary's in, Christina's in, Diane Williamson's in, Annette's in, and, of course, Sharon Young. So good morning to you all. Nice little group this morning. So what have we got for you today? Well, I'm not sure whether this was in Africa or where actually it was, but a pastor, a religious man, decided that he was going to part the waves of the sea. He actually told everybody what he was going to do, and he proceeded to gather rather a large crowd. He raised his staff, walked into the sea, and of course the sea decided to wash him back up onto the shore. Unfortunately, that particular day, God wasn't around. Anyway, a very interesting scenario. And then, of course, we have Angela, North Korea, Rayner, who is now claiming that she wants to control the internet, the media, and, of course, people actually chatting to one another on social media sites. Well, there we go. Another move towards dystopia, or North Korea, should we say. However, we don't actually know too much about North Korea, so North Korea could actually be not a bad place to live. Anyway, that besides, what have we got for you as well? Judge, now big shout out to this guy, Judge Nicholas Rowland. Nicholas, we just wanted to tell you that you are a complete and utter wanker. This is the case of 3 teenage boys, of course, who raped 2 girls over a period of time, and the judge decided that Nicholas Rowland, let's just remember his name again, Nicholas Rowland, a judge, a man who's supposed to be representing democracy, supposed to be representing judiciary, supposed to be representing, of course, fair play and all that stuff that is good and great. Unfortunately, he gives 0 jail time to 3 teenage boys who raped a girl. Now, what kind of message is that sending to the teenagers of the country, of the world, no less? He's one of his statements, I think he said that we don't want to really target young people. Really? Maybe they're the people that should be targeting. Maybe, I don't know, maybe future generations need to be targeted in different kinds of ways. Very interesting. Meanwhile, Jeff Bezos, of course, the richest, probably one of the richest men on the planet, basically is complaining that people are having a go at multi-billionaires. And this is a man, of course, that apparently gets offended by people calling him a multi-billionaire. This is a man, of course, that was set up by the system for the system to help the system. There you go. A third of his staff just happen to be using food banks. A third of his staff can't afford to buy a home. A third of his staff are only able to afford basic stuff. So it's a big shout out to the billionaires. And yes, we will continue to keep fucking calling you out because, like I just said, you are created by the system, for the system, to the system. There you go. And then we've got Ivana Trump. This is quite an interesting one. Ivana Trump died on July the 14th, 2022. Interestingly enough, she was just about to appear in a court deposition on July the 15th. And this, of course, was in connection to Donald Trump, or should we say the Trump empire's finances. Now, that could be a little snake in the box, so to speak. Anyway, we'll wait and see. Remember that Donald Trump is simply just an actor, central casting, and don't be surprised if you don't see the fall of Donald Trump at some particular stage. You know, a lot of people think Donald is the saviour. A lot of people think other people are the saviour. I mean, a lot of people thought Maradona was the saviour. The hand of God, apparently. Not. Anyway, meanwhile, Boris Johnson and Matt Hancock, everybody holds these two people in very high esteem, apparently for, well, should we say, killing more pensioners than Harold Shipman did back in the day. This was, of course, the discharging from the hospital COVID bullshit, where, of course, infected people with COVID, or should we say a strain of the flu, were then forced to go back to, of course, care homes where elderly people were living in an environment that was inclusive of what we should class as an incubator, 70 odd degrees, fucking heating on full blast, confined to rooms, closed environment, and of course people were being discharged from hospital into the care homes because apparently it was safe. Was it fuck? Then, of course, we got Boris Johnson. I'm sure it was in 2022 or 2023, not quite sure. Don't quote me on the year. This was when Boris stopped the peace deal between the Ukraine and, of course, Russia. Yes, we could have had 3 years of peace, but no, we had 3 years of Zelensky going round with his cap in his hand, begging off other countries and receiving millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of fucking dollars that basically found their way back to America. And anyway, it doesn't matter. Millions, I think 92 billion went to Joey Biden, 6 billion went to Nancy Pelosi. I think Mitch McConnell got somewhere around about 62 billion. Makes you wonder. It's like a fucking merry-go-round. It reminds me of the Magic Roundabout back in the day. Most people will probably not remember the Magic Roundabout, but that doesn't really matter. No, it doesn't really matter. The Magic Roundabout was very interesting. And Zebedee used to pop up every now and again, if I can remember. And then he used to hop off again. Really, really interesting. Now, of course, the corruption, of course, in the Ukraine doesn't just actually sit with the Ukraine. Oh, no. The corruption in the Ukraine, of course, spills back to all the paybacks that, of course, British politicians got, of course, because, of course, as you well know, the Americans and, of course, the British, who are classed as, should we say, the deep state, are, of course, in collusion, should we say, with each other. So you can bet your bottom dollar that some of that money that was laundered through Ukraine was, of course, found in the British pockets, so to speak. So it's very interesting to see how that will pan out. Meanwhile, of course, on this Memorial Day today, the 25th of the 5th, which is quite an interesting one. We got Russia bombing the shit out of Kiev. Well, what a great move there by Mr. President Putin. He's like going, listen, NATO, fuck off, UK, fuck off. What else? Israel, fuck off. Mossad, fuck off. And the famous saying, fuck around and find out, actually means something. Something in the region of 600 attacks in the Ukraine. Very interesting. Nothing on mainstream media, of course, because there wouldn't be. No. That's quite an interesting one. And isn't it interesting as well how Mr. Zelensky is not only organising a brutal campaign of conscripting young men by basically robbing them off the street, beating the fucking shit out of them and forcing them to go onto the front line. Not only is he doing that, of course, but of course he's seeing a blind eye to the corruption, and particularly his own corruption. This, of course, is the ski resort in Ukraine. Oh yes, a $62 billion enterprise that Mr. Zelensky seems to have quite a lot of interest in, should we say, from a financial point of view. Then, of course, there's the Bugattis that he's bought, the Bugattis that he's got on order for his wife and himself next year. Oh, while you lot continue to give him fucking shitloads of money. And then, of course, what else have we got? Oh, yeah, we've got a lot of his sort of interior ministry are on the tape as well, and but also there is a lot of animosity that is also taking place, because when corruption is involved, there always is animosity between the various different fractions. Oh, you've got more than me. Oh, you had one more car more than me. Oh yes, it rears its ugly head like a fucking snake. And then, of course, we have to big shout out, or should we say a big burial, to a guy called the Hamburger. Now, the Hamburger was a man operating, I think it was in Gaza, or I'm not really sure, Ukraine or where. Anyway, this man was called the Hamburger for a particular reason. And he took great delight in killing children with his drone. Very interesting. Interesting enough, over this weekend, he was actually killed and blown up by a Russian drone. The irony of that is seems to be somewhere on the lines of karma, wouldn't you think? Very interesting. Meanwhile, of course, the occupants of Torbay are absolutely in celebrations this weekend. Absolute celebrations. The Torbay people apparently have got a massive windfall from Keir Starmer and the Labour government, and this is in response, or in regards to the £1.64 holiday saving. Fucking wow. This is, of course, the new measures from the Labour government that allow you to spend some quality time, if you can afford it, and save yourself £1.64 on a day out in Torbay. Now, apparently, certain rides and certain attractions are going to offer a discount for people, especially if you are under 3. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't actually know many under 3s that actually have a family, apart from the fact that they might have a mum and dad that basically have just, procreated them 3 years previous. But that's by the by. Anyway, I don't know how someone's worked this out, but it is actually incredible. The £1.64 apparently, okay, equates to 3 licks of an ice cream. Fucking got no idea. I've got no idea how anybody's worked that out, but 3 licks of an ice cream. Now, if you are sharing an ice cream, you better have a very good tongue. That's all I can say. And The other one that it's been worked out as well, apparently in Torbay this weekend, with the £1.64 holiday saving from, of course, the Labour government, you can actually have 16 seconds of free parking. Fucking brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And then, of course, we've got Angela Rayner, of course, giving away her 40 pence a week. Wow, 40 pence a week. 52 weeks of the year. You can work that fucker out for yourself. 40 pence a week saving. I mean, it's incredible the amount of money that the government are actually giving away to the citizens that to actually provide them with the very lifestyle that they have been accustomed to. However, they just haven't quite worked this out yet, and they won't until they won't be able to walk down the streets anymore. And ladies and gentlemen, that fucking fucker is coming faster than you can ever imagine. And yeah, very interesting. So in Torbay this weekend, if you are actually having now this is an interesting one as well. Now apparently people in Torbay are celebrating this great windfall of taxes and money being given to them by the government by actually having street parties, barbecues, garden parties and tombolas. However, the local council in Torbay have told everybody that they need a license for that, which happens to be £10. Fucking hilarious. Now, as you well know, Bill Gates, the very synonymous character with jabbing and killing thousands of people or children in Africa as a medical test bed, as basically is in court and on trial in the Netherlands. Now, he is also linked to be on trial in other countries as well, and some countries have even issued the death penalty against him if he actually goes to those countries. No wonder we never see him knocking around. Now, of course, as you well know, Bill Gates is heavily linked to Jeffrey Epstein, etc., etc., etc. And, of course, it's now all come out that, of course, the COVID situation was very fake, and it was very just made up. Somebody made it up. Brilliant. Meanwhile, the World Trade Centers, the 9/11, this is the Jewish entrepreneur, Mr. Larry Silverstein, or should we say Roger the Finkelstein. Larry decided that he was going to take some insurance out on the 9/11 buildings for a terrorist attack 3 seconds before the terrorist attack. And now Larry did quite a good deal, actually, because not only did he claim once on the insurance, he claimed twice on the insurance because, of course, there were two buildings. Fucking brilliant. Hey, I'll tell you what, these Jewish people, fucking, you know, they know their shit, don't they? Hey? There you go. Now, what else have we got? Now, apparently, the mainstream media are trying to prove that Donald Trump is not only mentally insufficient, but also apparently is surrendered to Iran. Now, I don't know about this at all, but what I do know is that Iran is the proxy country in regards to London, and is being run by London and Israel. So I can't see for a second that Donald Trump would be giving in to the London Massive, so to speak. And this was quite a, well, it's just a very, very interesting pantomime. Apparently, Donald has released 20 billion in assets. We had to think about this, and we thought, well, that's quite an interesting one. Now, let's not forget that Barack Obama, back in the day, paid 1.7 billion to Iran. The money was sent via pallets on a plane. Somebody had to fly that plane, so somebody fucking knows some shit. They had to be a ground crew to offload it. You know what I'm saying? So somebody knew some shit. But this is quite interesting. So what we did wonder that if of course Iran pay Donald Trump back the 1.7 billion that was given to Obama, with the carrot that is dangling of a $20 billion release, this is actually quite a good strategic move from my point of view. Anyway, simply because what could happen here is that Iran pays back the 1.7 billion given to them by Obama that everybody seems to say never happened. Now, why would Iran pay back a 1.7 billion pound deal to, of course, Donald Trump when, of course, Obama didn't pay the 1.7? So what that does is that proves that the 1.7 billion was actually given to Iran by, of course, Barack Obama, proving that, of course, Barack Obama was not the best black man in the country, especially when he was married to not only another black man, but also the two girls that were adopted have now turned MAGA. It's fucking brilliant. So, yes, very, very interesting. And then, of course, over the weekend, we've had Donald Trump rushes back to the White House. And then, of course, we have a shooting. Shots fired. Get fire in the hole. Yeah, you can just see the Yanks running around now, can't you? Fucking making out all this shit. It's fucking impressive stuff, really. Like, it reminds me of the old-fashioned war films, all the old-fashioned war films. The Guns of Navarone. Fucking brilliant. And then, of course, Donald, of course, is not going to the wedding on an island in the Bahamas. Ooh, that's quite an interesting one, isn't it? Now, of course, we have Donald Trump Jr., okay, who is actually called Donald Trump Jr. He's going to have a father-in-law because he's marrying Betty, and I'm fucking no, her name is Bettina, whatever her fucking name is. She happens to be some kind of a model. Anyway, I've looked at her. She doesn't look overly cool to me. Take the makeup up. She's fucking probably a dog. Anyway, we shouldn't really say that, should we? Really? But anyway, we have. So anyway, the Don Jr., of course, is going to have a father that happens to be Epstein's personal banker. So maybe Donald hasn't gone. Maybe Donald hasn't gone to, of course, to the island because of this particular scenario. Now, we're not saying that he is or isn't, but excuse me. It is very interesting that all that seems to be playing out. Now, of course, apparently Donald Trump had to rush back for national security reasons. We're not quite sure what those national security reasons are. But anyway, not to worry. We're not going to... The thing is, what you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is this. There is literally no point in sinking your arse into every single bit of information that is coming out from, from the mainstream media and et cetera, et cetera. The mainstream media are probably lying. As I say to many people, there won't be any retribution until, of course, the mainstream media screens go dark, or or, of course, the mainstream media are taken over by, people like myself and, the thousands, not just me, thousands of other people that are out there, that are doing the good work and, and spreading the word. So, there are a whole army of, alternative media presenters that are ready to. These people we're all ready to go. We're doing it. We're doing it now. We're all ready to go. We might not be as good looking as Selena Scott or freaking Jill Dando or whatever, but we're all ready to go to tell the truth to the people, as we have been doing. For me personally, for the last, 5-6 years or something like that, I can't remember now. And we have all the information, we have all the news, we have all the stuff. So we're all ready to go. All that needs to happen is that the mainstream media, like the BBC and all that bullshit, they just need to disappear. Fuck off, leave us alone, and we'll get on with presenting the news for people. And not only that, we'll present the good shit as well, because all this wars and bullshit all around. You know what I'm saying? I mean, genuinely, right? I don't believe that countries like Russia and China and all them. I genuinely don't believe that they and also other countries around the world just want to be warring all the time. I generally believe that most people, I'm not saying every single one, but I'm saying that most people are probably, pro-peace. They want peace. They don't want all this falling out. They don't want to be involved in fear and fucking all that. And of course, the other thing as well is the massive thing that would make a huge difference across the world from a peace point of view is, of course, the distribution of money. And when we talk about the distribution of money, we're not talking about the lack of money. We're not talking about the fact that it can't be afforded. We're not talking and remember that every day we are reminded by the mainstream media that the government and the country can't afford to look after its people. It can't afford to look after the homeless. It can't afford to look after the disabled. It can't. This is what we're told constantly. And yet, isn't it amazing that we can find £200 billion for a train, Thomas the Tank Engine, that's was originally running from London right up to Newcastle, and now all of a sudden it's only running from London to, of course, Birmingham. And it's still costing the same amount of money. In fact, it's costing more money, even though they've done all of those savings. And then, isn't it amazing how we managed to find £35 billion, for track and trace? What happened to track and trace? Where did it all go? 35 billion. And yet, we don't even see track and trace. No. What about the PPE scandal? What about Michelle Mone? Remember the underwear woman? Made stockings and suspenders and fancy underwear for all kinds of different people. Maybe even Keir Starmer, we don't know. And there she is, lauding it around still. And she made £68 million on a PPE deal that was actually fucking devoid. She didn't even the PPE that she supplied wasn't actually fit for purpose, and it actually went to landfill. Maybe we should charge you with an environmental crime, maybe of some degree. Yes, could be quite an interesting one. Know what I mean? So, yeah, very interesting. Then we have to give a big shout out today in Ireland. A big shout out to the Irish people who just happen to have a woman called Catherine Connolly, apparently the 10th president of Ireland. Now, I didn't really know much about this, but anyway, if it's true, she is apparently an independent politician, and she loves Ireland, which of course is the Irish people, and of course hates Israel. So she's not a fan of Israel, which tells us a lot about her. Anybody that is not a fan of Israel can be considered as a friend of the world. So wait and see on that one. Now, I bet you didn't know this. Russia, as you well know, the enemy. Very interesting. Starmer's always having a pop at Russia. Starmer's funding Ukraine. Starmer is doing all kinds of things to disrupt the Russian narrative and also the Ukrainian narrative as well, because of course clearly he's friends with Israel and he knows what's going on. But isn't it interesting, despite all of the sanctions, despite all of the rhetoric that is sort of thrown at Russia by not only the English but the Europeans and also the Americans? Oh yes. Isn't it interesting that over the last, I would say, few weeks, the Labour government, or should we say the government per se, which means all of them, they've given £1 billion to buy Russian oil. There you go. There you go. The Zionists funding Zionism. It's the same as World War II. Henry Ford, who was an American, an American company, basically made and funded German tanks and weapons and sold them to Germany, in order that Germany could use those weapons against US and Western forces. How ironic is that? That an American Ford Motor Company man funded the World War II, funded Germany to kill his own people. Fucking absolutely amazing. The same thing happened, of course, with Winston Churchill, ladies and gentlemen. Winston Churchill, the great fucking Winston Churchill, who happens to be an absolute drunken wanker, but nobody seems that because, of course, Winston's got his own statue in the fucking capital, London. Often drunk on the morning at 9 o'clock. Maybe that was something to do with the free alcohol that they get in fucking Westminster. That, of course, what's her name? What is her fucking name? I can't remember her name now. Not Zara. The Green Party lady stood up in Westminster on Wednesday and called out the free alcohol in Westminster. Now, remember that these MPs, of course, are making decisions in Westminster about yourself and myself, etc., etc., and there they are drinking and making decisions on that drinking. Now, of course, as you well know, you're not supposed to drink and drive. You're not supposed to do drugs while you're driving. So why should you be allowed to make decisions that are going to affect 65 to 70 million people in the UK? And, you know, you're allowed to have free alcohol. All day fucking long, ladies and gentlemen. Looks to me like a nest of alcoholics are just fucking banging the fucking cud, so to speak. Anyway, with all that in mind, have a great day today. Enjoy the lovely weather. If you are getting chemtrails, they're probably not chemtrails. They're probably something else. But of course, you probably think that they're chemtrails because, of course, you've been brainwashed to think that. But anyway, we'll leave that for you to basically decide whether they're chemtrails or not. I'm not going to argue with you because there simply is no point. Anyway, have a great day today. Enjoy the weather. It's going to be a very hot day apparently today. One of the hottest. I'm not saying it is the hottest, but one of the hottest. Yeah. And don't forget, if you do have an electric car, remember, be very mindful that things could overheat. You could be trapped in the car and you could literally die. So congratulations for buying a Tesla electric car with a battery, of course, with a battery that is cheaper, a battery that is cheaper than the ones that were originally created by a friend of mine, and unfortunately they were shelved because actually they were too fucking good. Reminds me of certain other inventions that disappeared. Yes, the water car back in 1974. Ever wondered why companies like BP and Shell run a Engineer of the Year award? Well, very interesting. That's so that they can attract the brightest minds to come up with inventions that they can then shelve and still take the piss out of you using oil. Remember, there's no need for us to use oil. There's no need for us to use gas. We have free electricity, free energy in the ether, if you haven't quite worked that one out yet. So literally the oil company or companies don't really have any use. They only have a use because they have invented that use. Anyway, there we go. Tesla proved it. Not, of course, Elon Musk. We're talking about the Tesla back in the day. Vibration, frequency, and energy. That's the way forward. Anyway, love you loads. Take care. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. I'll try and catch up with you later on today. And we'll take it from there. All right. See you later. Cheers. Bye.